Hey, welcome back. All right, so let's dive in here. All right, at this point, you guys, you know how to do a video audit. You know how to, do that in such a way where we're giving the client a lot of value. We're humanizing ourselves. We're making ourselves very real to these guys. It's kind of an essential part of the funnel here. Now, the idea of the video audit is we send that to them after they indicate an interest to us, that they want to learn more about whatever issue we mentioned in the email to them, that first email. They've kind of self-selected. They know, or we know that they want more information, that they're interested possibly in working with us. Buying something at least. And the idea of the video audit is we do the video audit, and when we send it to them, as you'll see in the templates we have there, you will include the link to the video. A link to your calendar for them to book a call. Which is you can do it for free through Calendly or whatever, and whatever software you want to use. And the idea is that they watch the video, they say, "Wow, I'm interested," or "Wow, this guy's kind of serious. Like, it's definitely worth having a phone call with," and they book that call. And this what we want to talk about here is that first phone call, right? How should that phone call go? It's if you're a kind of an introverted, anxious person like I am. Well, I'd say I'm less anxious than I used to be, but I definitely am still an introvert. When it comes to getting on these phone calls and talking to strangers, really, the idea is that we are, we want to build rapport on this phone call, right? You can totally try to close on this call. I'm not saying that you couldn't do it, but yeah, I think it's a little bit, my process, how I do sales and how I'm going to teach you guys to do sales is I don't close on the first call. I try to build more value, build more rapport with them. But if you feel like you need to close on that first call, if you just have to get that money in, then do that on this call. But otherwise, kind of dive in how I'm going to be teaching it to you here. So, the goal, again, as I said, the goal of the video audit is to pique their interest enough to schedule a phone call. We include a Calendly link in our emails back to the prospect who asked about the video audit, and we might have to follow up and be persistent to eventually get them on the phone call, but it will work. Again, another side note, this is why quick mail is so awesome, because we'll just automate this whole thing for you. Now, this is a bunch of you guys have probably seen this graph, seen this thing out there on Instagram or whatever, sales statistics, right? 48% of people never follow up, blah, blah, blah. Hate to burst your bubble, but the National Sales Executive Association, that's not a real thing. These statistics are, bullshit, the numbers, but it's the idea of it is spot on, right? We want to be following up with these people. It's not scientific, that chart, but the message is clear. Whether you're using quick mail or doing things manually, nothing is more important than the follow-up. So these people asked for the information that you offered, that free video audit. So following up with them is helping them out. It's not annoying them. You want to help them grow their business. You want to show them an opportunity to invest in you and what you do, and that investment is going to pay dividends for them in terms of helping their business to grow. So, there's a lot we talked about in the email section about following up with the cold email, but it's even more important that you're following up after the person has responded positively with your video audit in there, because you spent the time on there. You want to make sure that it gets appreciated, right? So the idea, so they book the call, guys, right? And you pick a time, whatever it is, and before you get on the call, just think about these things we're talking about here. So the first call is really all about building trust, right? You and the prospect at this point, you're still pretty much strangers. You have something they want, and they have something that you want. So what you got to do, you want to build rapport right from the opening, right? Kind of get people comfortable, like, don't dive right into business. You just kind of want to just like, hey, where are you based out of? How long have you been out there? Oh, I've been to so and such a place, or oh, I've never been. It sounds great, or whatever. Maybe talk about a sports team if you guys are into sports or whatever. And then when just that believe me, that building rapport is such an essential skill just in life. Even if you've never done that before, just like use this opportunity to kind of practice that. I used to work at the Apple store, and when I was in my sales training, they taught us you want to build rapport with the customer. Don't try to just like take their money and whatever. Just build rapport, talk, chat, have like an interesting conversation with them. But then when the time comes, if you guys have had maybe a couple of yucks or whatever it is. Anyways, thanks so much for making the time to speak today. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so let's kind of get into it. And, and just you want to, after you move from that rapport building stage, you want to move into getting information about them, right? You want to start asking questions. People love to talk about themselves, and they love to talk about what they're working on, right? Just kind of ask some questions like, what are your business goals? What kind of marketing have you guys tried in the past? How did that turn out? What made you want to respond back to my email? And just kind of get the lay of the land from them, how things are actually going. Whether they have a real problem, what their business goals are, how long they've been in business, what are they selling, what projects are happening. You just really want to ask a bunch of open-ended questions for them, right? And the idea of asking all these questions is to find their pain point, right? Find what part of the business is causing them the most grief, and then you want to position yourself as the person who's going to help them. For the purposes of this bootcamp, for selling SEO guys, the pain point is probably that they need more traffic. They need more phone calls, more customers, but never assume that, right? You can just, it's a safe assumption to make most of the time, but, I would caution against, well, of course they just need more traffic. Sometimes it's something else. Sometimes they have enough traffic and they think they need more traffic to convert. What they actually need is conversion optimization, or what they really need is a new website or whatever it is. Just like ask them and like use your digital marketing brain to kind of interpret that. And you don't have to just kind of like interpret things or guess. You can just straight up ask them, like, what's the biggest problem in your business right now? Just ask them and get the information from that. And then with that pain in mind, right, propose them a solution. Is it SEO? Is it Google AdWords? Is it a new web design? Is it just general marketing help? Obviously, we want it to be SEO because that's what we're learning here. But never if somebody says you guys can learn to do other things too. But I would say if from what I'm hearing, what I'm hearing is this: always repeat back to them what the pain is, right? What I'm hearing is that you guys are only getting 3 or 4 phone calls a month, and that's, means that you're going to be out of business in 2 weeks. Is that correct? Or what I'm hearing, whatever it is, kind of repeat that back, like drive that pain home, and then just kind of close out with something like this, well, that's definitely something we can help you with. How about this? I'll go meet with my team and I'll pull together a proposal for you. Then let's talk again at the same time in 2 days and we can go over it together. Sound good? Right? That's a good close. You want to make sure that you guys are scheduling your next call before you hang up the phone, right? It might seem like a pain. You kind of, if things are going well, you might be in a rush to just get off because you're like, oh crap, I don't want to mess this up. But spend the extra like 30 seconds to make sure you've scheduled another call with them before you hang the phone up. You have them interested now, so don't try to schedule the call for, 2 different ideas here. Sorry. First idea, don't fall into the trap of like, I'll get you a proposal and leave sort of an indefinite timeline of like, yeah, we'll get back to you at some point. No, make it for like in 2 days or 3 days. It puts you on a deadline. It puts them on a deadline. You don't want them to go cold and be like, I'm not actually interested. Don't give them time to think that way. Have it be for a day or 2. And then the next thing, don't schedule the call out for, a week. Try to schedule it for, the next day or the day after that. You might have to switch some things around to put the proposal together, but this is the best way to do it, guys. So just kind of move it forward. If you're like me, the idea of like getting on call with a stranger is anxious, and then the idea of scheduling another call with a stranger, for the next day or 2 days from now, when I just did so well in that last thing, usually I get a reprieve that's longer than that. It makes me anxious to even talk about it right now, but this is how you do it. This is how you close the sales down, all right? And again, guys, I know talking on the phone, it it sucks. Nobody talks on the phone these days, but a lot of the business owners we're going to be targeting, they do, and they live on the phone. I've lived with social anxiety my whole life, and talking on the phone with strangers is just like nothing. It's the last thing I ever wanted to do, believe me. But the only way to kind of overcome that fear is just to face it in the real world, right? To overcome my fear of talking to people on the phone, for an entire fall, the fall of 2013, I decided I'm going to get better at this stuff. And I just sat there, and literally for an hour every single night after I got home from work, I would pick a random city and a random niche, and I would just cold call businesses just to get myself comfortable, trying to learn more about how to build a business, like building a software thing. But I would just literally for 1 hour, I would just cold call businesses and try to talk to them about their business problems. It was like the most nerve-wracking thing, but I forced myself to do it for like 2 months. And now I'm pretty comfortable with it, but it's still, it's just, it never really goes away. You just kind of get better at dealing with it. Right. So that's it for the first phone call, guys. Again, if you got a first phone call coming up with a prospect, or you're a little bit nervous about it, post in the group. We'll give you some rah-rahs and make sure you do all right with it. Okay. Let's move on.